up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Game Time here on the Game Time Sports Channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by a man who's probably feeling better today after Dak Prescott finally showed up. Winston A. Marshall, how are you?
Define better, bro. That whole game, yeah, but like, at what cost? The fact that the first meme to go out of that game, like the start of the game, it was all memes of like, yo, man, the Cowboys used to stand for something. This is bullshit. And I'm like, you're not wrong. But then to follow it up with the fact that, like,
yeah,
the first meme I saw when the game was over is Dak Prescott is the first NFL player in history to throw an interception in 2 separate days, but it'd be the same game. And I'm like, that's not a stat. Kiss my ass. This is never, God damn it.
I saw that this morning and I was like, what? Wait, did that game go that long? I was like, oh,
because you got to remember it was on the East Coast. So it started, instead of starting at 8 o'clock, it started at 9 something. So it was like 12:30, 12:45 by the time that game ended.
Yeah. Yeah. And and also people looking at that CeeDee Lamb exchange and assuming what was being said between him and Dak. So interesting stuff going on in the world of Dallas with your Cowboys. Even in a victory, you can't win. I think that's the other part of this. I can understand the frustration as well.
Shit is crazy, bro. Shit is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, Haskell said it was over 15 hours of football yesterday. Right. If you include waking up at 6:30 on the West Coast to see Jets Vikings all the way to the end of the Steelers Cowboys.
Yep. That's unnecessary amount of football.
Well, we're going to cover it all here. The Week 5 NFL games, a lot of big stuff happening. You know, the way this works is we talk about like the first 5 or 6 games that we think are the big games of the weekend, and then get into the other games later on in the show. So there's a lot to cover here today because a lot happened over the weekend. Streamlabs is how we do this channel because we're not at 1,000 subscribers just yet. So if you want to send in support, Streamlabs address is right there in the middle of the screen and also pinned in the chat and in the description of the video. So let's get it going here, brother. The first game was the Baltimore Ravens here taking care of the Bengals. Incredible shootout of a game, 41-38. This was insane on so many levels here, Winston. The stuff that was happening between these two teams, I was just shocked at how this was going back and forth. Clearly, Cincinnati needing this victory in their season, coming in at 1-3. The Ravens coming in at 2-2 and a bit shaky with some of their losses and some of their ability to hold on to a lead in the fourth quarter. And this was a good old-fashioned AFC shootout that in the end was settled in overtime after a 51-yard run by Derrick Henry, who had been pretty much bottled up most of the game, leading to a Justin Tucker field goal there, 24-yard field goal chip shot there to win the game. So here we go, Winston. The 1-4 Bengals, the 3-2 Ravens. What do you take away from this game? Where are these two teams going?
I mean, it really just goes to show the last thing you want to do if you're going to end up going into OT, you don't want to be the team that got backpedaled into overtime.
Yeah.
Twice this week this happened. This happened earlier on the Thursday game where the Falcons pushed the Buccaneers into OT and then immediately got the ball. So you're talking, since London had to come out, fresh legs on that receiver who's like the special teams, a special teams guy, like 4th string receiver came in.
Yeah.
That whole defense had just had to hold on for a field goal attempt out of Atlanta. They were gassed. The same thing happened here in this game where the Bengals are up 38-28.
Yeah.
2 drives in a row. You first get the touchdown out of Jackson Likely. Then you get the 56-yard field goal attempt out of Tucker.
Yeah.
So then when they get the ball first, you had a situation where essentially they're just kind of gassed. Like it went a little bit, but like not very long. It was what Baltimore went out there and they fumbled after a couple of plays.
Yeah.
Bengals tried to hit that field goal, but I can't remember if it was blocked or if he just whiffed it.
Yeah.
But by that point, being that far into overtime, knowing that the Bengals defense had been on their heels for the last like 20 to 30 minutes, one ginormous run out of Derrick Henry, and then Baltimore said, "No, we're done. No more plays. Kick fucking field goal. We have Justin Tucker, and that's game. And I think the thing that's really going to come out of this, people want to blame Joe Burrow. I don't know how you can do that when the man gave you 38 points.
Yeah.
There's a point at which you need to go, like, this reminds me of Romo in one of his peak eras all over again, because he would go toe for toe, pound for pound with Peyton Manning, 5-6 touchdowns each, both through an interception or two. But our defense is actually bad. Their defense was just getting outclassed by a really, really good, quarterback. Not that Peyton Manning isn't a really, really good one, but he's playing also a bad defense to make it easier. And that's kind of what happened here. The Bengals defense is not good. They keep giving up too many points and then putting this insane moving the goalposts, for a lack of a better term here, for what Burrow is needing to do. So the people that keep yelling, "Oh, this is all Burrow's fault," you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
You are out of your ever-loving mind if you really think that this is his fault.
Yeah, you look at this. He was 30 of 39 for 392 yards and a career-high 5 touchdowns, 2 of them to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. He led, and Chase led the Bengals with 10 catches for 193 yards, getting him back here from injury. Higgins had 9 grabs for 83 yards. So the fact that he was 30 of 39 got you 38 points. And honestly, we're having a completely different conversation if that kick by McPherson, if the holder hadn't fumbled the snap. If he hadn't fumbled the snap, maybe he's placing it perfectly. McPherson is kicking, and the Bengals win this game, and we're having a whole nother conversation. That's what's crazy about the NFL sometimes. It really comes down to a play or two. Yes, you could argue Joe Burrow's interception near the end of the game kind of screwed the Bengals here in the end, but that fumbled snap is something you can't predict or plan for. And if that fumbled snap doesn't happen and McPherson kicks it through, then we're looking at a different situation, a 2-3 Bengals team. We're looking at a 2-3 Ravens team. And then we're asking questions about which one of these two is going to make the playoffs or not make the playoffs at all. Now with a 1-4, certainly the hill becomes even steeper for the Bengals to climb, because I think you're right. Their defense is not strong. And that's something they used to pride themselves on over the last few years. And now it looks shaky as hell. And I wonder at what point you start to shut down Joe Burrow, Winston, because if the season is lost, why are you going to let him keep playing?
Somebody that gets injured a lot. Yeah, there's a point at which there will be a point at which if I'm Jamar Chase, I'm taking myself out, because I told you I wanted my money.
Yep.
I'm not going to play for us to already being eliminated from the playoffs. I'm walking away until you pay me. And I would not blame Jamar Chase. And if anything, does this sound counterintuitive because we, are the people that are season ticket holders and everything else? No, you need to go out there and play, blah, blah, blah. Don't give up on your team. But again,
it's business.
If you get to the point where there is zero chance in hell, I'm not putting myself through this violent ass game like that, especially at this level. You can make the argument. We talk about this in college all the time, but especially at this level, because they tried to slam that one kid at UNLV, I think. Because he played a couple games and he was not He was not given the NIL deal that he was promised,
$100,000.
From the school. So he said, "Fine, I'm out, redshirting myself, and I'll transfer." And people want to be like, "Oh, he quit on his team." I'm like, "Nah, bro. We were just talking about how DeMar Hamlin died on the field and how Tua looked like he was going to. I don't blame a single person that goes, I'm not going to play unless I get my money."
Yeah.
Like,
what do I care? You're 4-0. You're using me. I'm using you. Let's not be ridiculous about the situation. Let's not lie to ourselves. So give me my $100,000, which you promised me. If you can't do it, then screw you. I'm not going to play quarterback. I don't care that we're 4-0. I'm not in. This isn't my alumni. This isn't my college that I'm going to dedicate my life to. You brought me in, pay me my money so I can keep playing. That's 100% how it works. And look, the Bengals, it doesn't get any better. They just lost Dax Hill to a torn ACL. They're starting safety here. So that is massive. That is a massive loss for their defense yet again. So to me, or starting quarterback rather, this is going to be a massive loss for them. And now going forward, the defense is even more hamstrung, losing one of their top guys. So I mean at this point, I don't know, man. You start looking at it, man. We're close to shutting down Joe Burrow time. Go ahead. Yeah.
No. Someone just brought it up. They were like, "Yep, the 51-48 Denver versus Dallas 2013 shootout." It was absolutely crazy, man. I'll never forget it because it was. So I want you to guess and tell me who did what. So one quarterback threw 25 of 36, 506 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Another quarterback threw 33 out of 42, 414 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception.
Okay.
And
the first one's Peyton Manning. The second one is Tony Romo.
It is the exact opposite. Tony Romo outdueled the shit out of Peyton Manning, but our defense was so bad that they gave it up when at the absolute worst time that you could have asked for. So it was a situation where that interception, if I remember correctly, Peyton's was early. It was let me see here.
This was a Sunday afternoon game, if I remember correctly.
It was. I will never forget this game because there were just so many scores. Yeah. So Peyton fumbled, or Sims fumbled early on.
Yeah.
And we fumbled in the first quarter. Then let's see. Peyton threw an interception in the second quarter.
Yeah.
So that was the big difference, is that he did that in the second half, but it was like the third quarter.
Yeah.
Romo unfortunately threw his with 42 seconds left. They marched down the field, kicked the field goal, ended it because it was tied 48-48.
Right.
So that is the difference is his came later. But again, I put up 512 yards. I'm fucking tired. I'm exhausted. I gave you 5 touchdowns for over 500 yards. I'm exhausted. Do your goddamn job.
Yeah, the Broncos were 4-0 coming into the game. The Cowboys were 2-2 coming into the game, and then took that.
No. We would have been at that point. We would have been 3-1 because when this was over, or they were both maybe 3. How did this work? I'm so confused. Oh, these are the current standings. They're showing me current standings while I'm looking at this. That's why you're exactly right. So yes, it must have been 4-0, and we must have been 2-2.
I think this is the year. Was this the year they went and won the Super Bowl? Or was this the next year? Was this the year they
honestly, this is the year that they went to the Super Bowl and got shellacked
by the Seahawks. Right. Because Peyton was barely holding on in the season they went the second time.
This was early Peyton because remember, Andrew Luck went to the Colts in 2012.
Right. 2012.
So this would have been like his first or second year, I guess second year with the Broncos.
Yeah.
Oof, boy, man, what a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. Yeah, that was Manning's legendary 55 touchdown MVP season. So Romo outdueling him is insane. Yeah, absolutely. Fred says though, Romo threw the ball into triple coverage on third down with his check down completely wide open. Well,
no, I remember, but again, I threw 500 plus yards and 5 touchdowns. I'm fucking tired, bro. I'm tired. I'm sure my brain is like, you got this, Dez. And then Dez is like, nigga, there's people everywhere.
And also it's great to judge from the sideline. You have no idea what he's seeing in that pocket. Have you ever played Madden from the fucking quarterback's perspective through the helmet? Dude, it is madness.
Dude, listen to these stat lines for some of these receivers, bro. Terrence Williams, 4 receptions, 151 yards and a touchdown. Woo. Dez Bryant, 6 receptions, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wow. Jason Witten, 7 receptions, 121 yards and a touchdown. Cole Beasley, 4 receptions, 47 yards and a touchdown. Like everybody ate, bro. Everybody goddamn ate.
Poor Witten, man. He was a tight end before it was cool. Poor Witten, man. he couldn't have gotten a Taylor Swift back then, sadly.
Well, no, look, Mr. Unreliable was built like an element, a Honda Element, bro. It's just a box boy. And at the same time, this is where you still had obviously Gronk. I don't think Hernandez had gone to jail quite yet, so he was over there with the Patriots. Jimmy Graham was out here balling on motherfuckers when he was still with the Saints. Like you had, you saw Antonio Gates over in San Diego. You had some fire. Right. You had some fire tight ends rolling around this time. Jason Witten was known as old reliable.
Yeah,
it was like he would on average get somewhere between 50 and 100 yards a game.
Yep.
And maybe a touchdown. And if you needed him for absolutely anything, you just be like, yeah, I got it. Like, he'll just catch it. And then big boy just box run. Like,
it was fucking annoying. When you were a Redskins fan at the time, that's what they were called. watching Witten just break open every once in a while whenever Romo got in trouble. It was beyond frustrating.
It was Kelsey before Kelsey, except now Kelsey is just faster. Well, maybe not this season.
Not this season.
Peak powers, Kelsey is just faster than him,
Right, 100%. All right, well, let's move on to this other game here that I thought was insane. That is the Buffalo Bills blowing it against the Houston Texans here. 23-20 in the Stephon Diggs Bowl. I have no idea why this game went the way it went. CJ Stroud threw for 331 yards and a touchdown, and Fairbairn's tie-breaking 59-yard field goal was the difference in this game. Stephon Diggs led the Texans with 6 receptions for a whopping 82 yards in this game. This was such a shocking game. I thought this was going to be a blowout game, a really exciting game. And in the end, it was kind of a mealy-mouthed game that got to the destination. And Stephon, like, coming out of this game crowing about himself, I thought was the most ridiculous thing in the world. But this all comes down to McDermott and his offensive coordinator stupidly calling 3 pass plays on the 5-yard line, and Joe Allen missed them all. So they couldn't even take any time off the clock, like 5 seconds. And they had enough time, the Texans did, to throw a pass to get into field goal range for a 59-yard field goal. And as karma does in the NFL, it paid the Bills back hard. This is 2 losses in a row, dude. One was a blowout, and this was a blowout of the mind. I have no idea where you go from here and how McDermott gets the locker room back, because right now, I don't trust my coach. I don't trust my head coach at all in Buffalo with these last 2 games. This is nuts.
That's the thing. I understand you're back on your own 5. I understand you need to get down the field quickly, but everyone knows in those situations, because it's so tight, you have to try and run open some space, and then try and air it out. Instead, he was like, nah. We got the greatest player in the world. Let's go, Josh Allen. Just throw. And I'm like, bro, what have you done? Because then essentially what ends up happening is then they're forced to punt. You're obviously not punting that far when you're that far back. And all they have to do now is score a goddamn field goal. At the very least, run the clock out, go to overtime, give yourself some damn space. Like, it was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And I could not stop laughing after every play, especially with the announcers going, what are they doing?
Yeah. It kept saying, I don't understand these play calls. And they weren't even good. They weren't even good routes, Winston. Running a sideline route from the end zone, that is asking way too much of a defense that already is set up to block any kind of pass play that isn't over the middle. So I don't understand both of those calls. It was like just re-looking at it, every single one of them I forgot was a deep pass. Yes.
They were all deep passes, like trying really hard to go. And I'm like, stop trying to shoot the goddamn moon, bro. Because his thought process was, well, at the very least, they're not going to have time to kick the field goal since we're tied. But again, if you're throwing incomplete passes, yes, they will.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Right. Exactly. It was nuts. I loved, did you see, I don't know if you saw this, but Stephon Diggs walking past Josh Allen with this look on his face. Where is it? Look at that. Look at that. That tells you everything you need to know right there, giving him the stink eye.
Now he's on it, because now he's on an actual winning team.
I guess, for now.
Well, first of all, better record after this game. Second of all, what have the Buffalo Bills actually ever done in this Josh Allen era? What have they realistically done? They've won about as many playoff games as the Cowboys have.
How dare you?
Am I wrong?
I think, maybe you're not wrong.
What? This is Josh Allen playoff record. Let's see here. Just to go in here, he was lost in 2020.
Yes.
Then he won in 20. Yes. Okay, he made it to the AFC Championship game. So he's got more wins. But again, what have you done? You made it to 1 championship game.
Yeah.
Where you beat Indy first, then you beat Buffalo, and you lost to Kansas City. Then in the wild card round, you beat New England, because New England is trash, but you lost to Kansas City. Yes. Then in the wild card round, you beat Miami, then you lost to Cincinnati. Yes. Then in the wild card round, you beat Pittsburgh, and then you lost to Kansas City. He's 5-5, so he definitely has more playoff wins than Dak. Let me correct my statement there. But what have you done other than show up to an AFC Championship game, blow it, and then you can't get back there. When it's time to actually make shit happen, Josh Allen and McDermott cannot get it done. They can't get it done. And the funny thing is the Texans just finally got to the playoffs this first time, won a game their first year, and look like they're ready to roll. Like they made their team stronger. The Bills, in my opinion, actually look like a weaker team, but Josh Allen looks stronger. And so he's been able to blow out teams like the Jaguars, who are dog shit, because I think we can finally admit that Trevor Lawrence ain't the guy. Like, he's not.
Yeah, not in Jacksonville. Not in Jacksonville. Yeah.
So it's one of those situations where there is something to even be said. You want to win the Super Bowl. Especially if you're making multiple appearances. So, like, I'm looking at you, San Francisco 49ers. Are you going to go to the Super Bowl 3 times in the last decade and blow it every time? You can't win one of those 3, let alone 2 of which, with this current iteration of the team, where you supposedly upgraded from Jimmy G to Brock Purdy, and you still couldn't seal the deal. Like, it makes me laugh because a friend of mine, she was like, I've decided I'm going to be a Niners fan because they're California's team. I was like, they're California's team. The Rams won a damn Super Bowl in the last 5 years. What the fuck have the Niners done?
That's a good point. It's a very good point. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people call Josh Allen the Tony Romo of the North. So, I mean, it's a fair. Look at this shit. I want to show you something. People have been watching too much WWE in their off time. I need you to watch this play, Winston, and tell me if this should be 15 yards. What? That's a suplex. That is a suplex. That's illegal.
Bro, he didn't even really do anything.
His forward progress was done. What is this? What is that?
I don't know. That was really funny to me because he didn't even really do anything. It looked like he was doing like a bump, essentially, because it looked like a Rey Mysterio or like a Hardy Brothers, just like, not the twist of fate. What was the one off the ropes?
But the thing is, he ran away from this play like he got the tackle. Look at him. He's like, yeah, I got that motherfucker. It's like, dude, he was already stopped.
Bro, I'm sorry. That's hilarious. That is hilarious, bro. Stone cold. Like,
that's a great point. It's an RKO out of nowhere. RKO. Oh yeah, the Swanton bomb, right? That was
the Swanton bomb. That's what it was.
Top rope. Ridiculous. Anyway, Buffalo, I wish you luck. It's going to be a rough season, dog. The Texans, congratulations on 4-1. To me, it's an unconvincing 4-1. I think the Texans got to show me a bit more because these are some shaky W's they've gotten. So we'll see. And of course, teams now come prepared to play this team. So maybe that's adding to the shaky W's. But look, they're getting the W's, and that's what matters right now. So, yeah.
I mean, I think the 2 things to keep in mind, the one game that you lost was against a juggernaut, apparently, of a team in the Vikings.
In the Vikings, 5-0, yeah.
What are you going to do? And then the Bills, they kind of like handled the Bills a majority of this game. They started to self-destruct there at the end, but they held the line. Yeah. It's not like, don't do that too often, because that's literally where the Eagles got into trouble last year. And I said that. Everybody's like, they're winning. Who cares? I was like, I need you to use your eyes, because if every game is this close, 1, your luck runs out, and 2, you'll come against a team that's better equipped to not blow it in the 11th hour. Yeah. And they thought just because it was against the Chiefs, as we saw with the Chiefs the rest of that season, that was the Chiefs still sorting some stuff out because the receivers weren't catching balls.
Yeah.
And when it was time, they handled their business. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, like,
can't deny that.
If the Texans start doing this whole thing where they can like dominate most of the game, but then they start to slip, they might see themselves as like the Eagles. And then CJ Stroud goes from being like, oh my God, rookie sensation, to, ooh, you're just Jalen Hurts in the South. You just
what happened?
Want to sort of be good, but you're not getting the job done.
Yeah. There's some exciting matchups coming up. Like in a couple of weeks, they play the Texans do at Green Bay. Then a few weeks after that, they play at the Cowboys. Then they play at the Kansas City, and then they're at home for the Ravens in their second to last game. So there's some really premier marquee games they've got coming up over this season that'll really kind of solidify where the Texans are in terms of Super Bowl candidates.
2 big ones. I mean, I know the Jets are a little shaky, but like their defense is still pretty solid. Aaron Rodgers looks like boo-boo, but their defense is still pretty solid. You forgot the Lions, bro.
bro.
You wait. You're not on the Lions no more? You're done with the Lions. What is your problem? You are smoking.
I can't say if I'm done with the Lions, but I'm done with the Lions. Yeah. I don't trust Jared Goff. I just don't trust him.
First of all, been to a Super Bowl, been to an NFC Championship game. The Super Bowl is questionable. We can say that, but like literally almost took the Niners out, who I still felt was fraudulent. Like
it was close.
It was really close.
No lie.
It was some nonsense, ridiculous amount of close.
Yeah.
Like, oh Lord, I cannot believe. And I'm laughing at El Boogie saying, "Careful on QB's not doing anything." Look, I have said multiple times that Dak Prescott is one of the worst quarterbacks ever. This is literally Romo 2.0, where he's putting up crazy numbers and he's winning games and doing comebacks, but has these weird meltdowns that are not helpful. We've seen this time and time again. But I want you to seriously look me in my face. I know we can't see each other eye to eye, but I'm going to look right into the camera. I want you to tell me that Jalen Hurts is actually good. I want you to do this. I want you to say that when he doesn't have Jason Kelce helping him watch coverages, because he clearly wasn't doing that on his own. I want you to look at the fact that he still leads, even being on the first team to be in bye week, he still leads the league in turnovers from quarterbacks, extending from last year. I want you to tell me that he's good. Tell me to my face, and then we're good. I've already mentioned that Dak's got an issue, all right? What is your excuse for Jalen Hurts? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Yeah, there you go. There's your question. Anybody answering? Okay. Someone said like Goff had a perfect game last week. Yes, he did, but perfect games, they don't mean anything. Kyler Murray had a perfect game earlier in September. Baker Mayfield had a perfect game last year. Brock Purdy has had a perfect game. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson have had perfect games over the last few years. Can you tell me how many Super Bowls they've won? 0. So thank you. That's my point at the end of this whole situation. But speaking of the Jets, let's move on to that game here, Wednesday, Marshall. This was in jolly old London. Aaron Rodgers here was unable to lead his Jets to a victory as he threw a costly interception to that Stephon Gilmore, who was a Patriot and knew exactly how to play Aaron Rodgers, and caught that ball for the Vikings that was intended for Mike Williams, and that ended up ending things here for the Vikings, who went 5-0 under Sam Darnold. Look, this was a tough game. This was a shaky game. Some of the old Sam Darnold showed up with that terrible interception. He only threw for 179 yards, 14 out of 31. That's not convincing. Aaron Rodgers did throw for 244 yards. He threw 3 interceptions, bro. So, at some point, it is Aaron Rodgers, and it's no longer the team's issue. So this is going to be interesting.
Well, there's a couple things I will say. First of all, why are you throwing the ball 54 times?
Aaron Rodgers, at your age. Yeah.
You have Breece Hall.
Yeah, Breece Hall.
One of the premier backs in the league, and he only ran the ball 9 times.
9 times.
9 times. That's insane. Second of all, a large amount of this, because I wasn't watching the game, but the girl I'm playing in fantasy, I have Wilson, she has Lazard. So she kept swearing back and forth because I would see the points go up on my end. She goes, "You dropped another one." So the number of passes thrown at Alan Lazard that were dropped, and I believe one of them led to one of those 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a point, but at the same time, man, I mean, I do think Aaron is over the hill. He's better still than a good swath of the league.
Oh, 100%. He's better than most quarterbacks in the league, 1,000%. But don't tell me this guy's going to the Super Bowl. Get the F out of here, man.
Well, especially from the standpoint of when you look at Brady, for example.
Yeah.
Brady was about middle of the pack, but he knew how to win. He knew how to do it in clutch moments, and he genuinely was elevating his team. Yeah. I don't feel like Aaron is necessarily elevating the team, let alone the Jets don't want to win, because, and I know Haskell does. Haskell cares deeply.
I think Robert Saleh wants to win. He wants to keep his job.
I don't know if he does, because if he was, he'd be in that front office saying, "Bitch, pay Hassan Reddick. What the fuck is your problem?"
Oh, fair point.
And they would be saying, "Hey, you know what? If whether or not you decide to go and get Devontae, if you think that'll help Aaron, at the very least, why the fuck haven't you played Hassan Reddick?" Which, for Saleh, that he is a defensive coordinator. What he does is defense. So I would be up someone's ass about paying him his goddamn money. That's why we made the trade, so that we can be that rock solid, unstoppable brick wall.
But that's never been Aaron. Aaron loves the excuses more than the actions. Aaron he is not the kind of guy that's going to be like, hey, you guys need to make this situation happen and sign this on Reddick. That has never been Aaron Rodgers. He loves to blame other people for all his shit. And like he did at the end, blaming the ref for not calling a pass interference when that was a terribly underthrown ball and no way was that pass interference. So it's just standard Aaron Rodgers. It's everyone else's issue, not mine. Yeah.
Rocha, man, hold on.
Yeah.
He was immunized. Should have been, you know what I'm saying? He's always ready. He was immunized.
And then, ayahuasca is what he was on.
He went on a journey.
Him and Shailene Woodley. Yeah, I got your journey.
They've been done, bro. What you talking about?
No, I'm saying both of them because Shailene Woodley came out talking about against that kind of stuff as well. What is your feeling about the Vikings? I mean, is this a legitimate 5-0 or is this a kind of like, I'm going to wait and see 5-0? Do you have any faith? Is this Darnold project working? Is this really working or are we fooling ourselves?
Here are his victories: a 28-6 win over the Giants, a 23-17 victory over the 49ers, a 34-7 victory over the Texans, a 31-29 victory over the Packers, and then a 23-17 victory over the Jets in London.
There's some good wins here.
Yes, they are real. They are very, very real. And now I believe they're on their bye. So they have time to make sure that Addison's ankle feels good. Anybody else that's still been kind of holding down on some stuff, I think it 1,000% is. Now, do I think that they're world beaters? No, I think this is very reminiscent of the same Vikings team that Kirk Cousins was in the conversation for MVP. And it's not to say that Kirk didn't earn that and that Sam Darnold isn't earning this.
Yeah,
they are, but you're just dealing with a very well put together, well coached team. It's just, can they make it happen in these moments that need to just go down? Right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to think of some of the harder games that they'll have. Playing the guy, you still got to play the Lions twice, and then the Packers one more time.
Yeah,
so those are going to be rough games. If the Bears, off of these weaker opponents, start to figure themselves out a little bit, because Caleb Williams did look pretty damn good against the Panthers, that could be something where they could upset you with at least one at the Bears, maybe the earlier one versus the later one.
Right.
But the rest of their schedule is pretty cupcake, bro. It's Lions, something to worry about. The Rams, which they seem to be very good at taking down teams.
It's Jekyll and Hyde, the Rams.
They are, but they're good at taking on division rivals. The Vikings are a division rival, so I think they can get through them. The Colts aren't very good. I know that there was a surge from Flacco, but Flacco, while running for a 21-yard rush at the end of that game, still is 39 years old and showed that from time to time.
Yeah.
And Richardson gets hurt too much. The Jaguars are dog shit. The Titans are not good.
Nope.
The Cardinals game will be pretty tricky. I'm not really worried about the Falcons. You might see some revenge out of Kirk Cousins maybe, but I'm not really worried about that. And then the Seahawks, again, kind of hit or miss. They could, in theory, go undefeated. They're not going to. I think they lose maybe 2 or 3 games. Yeah. But looking at their schedule, they could. They genuinely could. They have a pretty easy schedule.
Barring injury, this is a 15-2 team, barring injury, right? But those last 7 games are a murderer's row. Like you said, we don't know what we got in the Bears right now because Caleb, they've got 3 victories, and Caleb looked good yesterday. He's starting to come around. But you've got Bears, Cardinals, Falcons, Bears again, Seahawks, Packers, Lions. That's a really tough last 7 games of the season. And it's tough to think that they're going to go undefeated during those 7 games. So I think that's where the 2 losses are going to come, or at least 1 loss is going to come during that run, if not more, for the Vikings, because they're going to start figuring out Sam. That being said, Brian Flores' defense, people need to start talking more about Brian Flores. Yes, I know the lawsuit and all that shit. That guy is doing incredible work with his defenses against some fantastic quarterbacks. And yes, they're not blowing out everybody, but they did blow out the Texans, but everything else has been somewhat close except for the Giants game. So these 3 games that were good victories, the 49ers, Packers, Jets, those are 3 good quarterbacks that you are finding a way to short circuit enough to get the victory. So I think people need to start talking about Flores more once again about a head coaching candidate down the road, because he knows what he's doing on defense.
He should have never been fired from Miami, because
I agree.
The funny thing is, I understand like the conversation that Tua was had about how Flores didn't really want him there and how that rocked his confidence and all that. But like,
yeah,
based off of what Flores said, is like the ownership wanted me to tank it. They were trying to force Brady to get in there, like all this other shit. Like, Flores should have never lost that job, regardless of how you feel about how he potentially talked about or to Tua. He's good at what he does, and he's proving it time and time again.
Yeah, it's clear. It's clear. All right, let's move on to this other game here, and that's my boys, the Commanders. Hello, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. It's so nice to have the Commanders in the first block, a little more consistency. Routed the Browns 34-13 to win their 4th game in a row. Winston, I'll tell you this honest truth. At some point in the middle of the third quarter, I yelled out loudly, and my girlfriend stormed in the room going, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "I don't know what is happening. What is this feeling of joy in my body?" As I watch what's happening on the field. Jaden looks like he is absolutely tailor-made to already be one of the great NFL quarterbacks, barring injury. And it's only been 5 games, but there's a composure here. There's a relaxed confidence here. He throws a pick in the end or near the end zone. It's like, okay, let's go back and get it again. It was incredible. And the defense is stepping up as well here. But on the other side, dude, Deshaun Watson, this experiment needs to end. Winston, what are your thoughts coming out of both of these games here about coming out of this game and both of these teams here?
Deshaun Watson is playing like what he kept touching unconsensually, cheeks. He is just straight cheeks, bro. He is dog shit.
Well, thanks for watching the show, everyone.
He's cheeks. He's terrible, and I really wish that they would just let Jameis take over and go
Can't do no worse, Winston.
But Jameis has literally shown moments where he really can be good. He's very gunslingerish.
Yes,
but I'm laughing at everybody going, "Whoa, no Diddy, damn!" Like,
exactly, no Diddy.
But I will tell you this, I found out a secret about Jaden Daniels.
Here we go.
Explains actually, no, it's not a bad one, but it explains why he is as good as he is.
Okay.
So they already talk about the people that are the hardcore studiers, the ones that do their homework and they watch tape and they memorize the playbook and all that. So Jaden is actually part of an interesting experiment where he is actually using VR to run to run plays and to run coverages so he can actually do it ahead of time. So they will play the actual coverage for him, and he's without having to take hits, without having to use his arm. He's able to do it, call it, all that kind of stuff. That's why if you look at when he plays, he is insanely composed.
Wow.
When he's in the pocket. So when you see stuff like that happening, one, I think this is going to be something that very quickly, like, because Quinn, knowing that this was something that he was doing over the summer, allowed him to continue to do it throughout his regimen here. And look at what it's produced. So I think that you're going to see a big change quickly around the league, and probably from almost all D1 schools. Find the money, get our quarterbacks or anybody that needs it, these VR situations to be practicing, because he's playing like someone who is at least 4 or 5 years his veteran.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why, instead of the high stakes of figure it out on the field, and this was like arguably the for those that are big Metal Gear fans, the whole idea of the VR training through Solid Snake's eyes, the idea of what does that mean, and does that actually make you strong enough to get in there and do what needs to be done? And clearly it's working for Jaden. So I'm really, really curious to see how this will continue to help with his development. And I'll admit it, folks, I very shamefully yesterday text Mark Ellis and John Rocha, and I said, "Look, man, I'm such a fan of Daniels. I'm actually out here rooting for you assholes to do this." And then when someone, I think it was Ellis, reminded me, well, it's funny, the only times the Commanders have ever won Super Bowls is when there's been a Republican president. I was like, fail, lose rest of your games, lose all your games, lose all your games.
We ain't winning no Super Bowl this year. Cut it out, Mark.
bro, but you're 4-1 and you're dominating teams. It's kind of scary.
But we're not dominating strong teams. Look, no offense. I mean, the Browns certainly had a strong defense, and we hung 34 points on them. So shout out to the Cliff Kingsbury, Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, who I think Austin has been a nice surprise for us, and Jeremy McNichols. I mean, great stuff here. 211 yards on 31 carries. I mean, 14 throws for 248 yards. That's incredible from Jaden Daniels. So they're all 328 yards, 14 throws for 328. They're all doing great stuff, and it was and I think the defense kind of gave up after a while because Deshaun really wasn't going to do it. We've got a Baltimore game next week. That's going to show us where we're at. Then we can start looking at, okay.
You still need to be giving your props, man. Like he held his own in your opening. It's your opening game, but you held your own against a Buccaneers team that's pretty damn solid. Like lost by essentially a coin flip on Thursday.
Oh, I think we beat the Buccaneers if we play them now. I think we crushed them.
If you played them now, I don't think you crushed them, but I think it's actually a game. I also would call that a coin flip. I think that they could still win. Mm-hmm. And they probably would just by the experience level of things. But the way the biggest mistake that Jerry Jones made in the offseason was not promoting Dan Quinn to head coach and letting McCarthy walk. You let the better of the coaches walk and look at not only the people that followed him, but look at what he's already done to turn you guys were dog shit last year.
Yeah.
And already you're 4-1.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You know, and look at your schedule, bro. The Ravens. Okay, that might be a challenge for you guys, but you saw how we almost bounced to come back. How many games they almost lost or did lose? Yeah. You can beat them I wouldn't call it easily, but you can very much beat them. You're gonna dog walk the Panthers as long as you don't fall for the trap game.
Yeah,
I truly believe number 1 versus number 2. Number 2 is definitely gonna shit all over number 1. Pun sort of intended there.
It's gonna be fun. That game might be fun. The Bears Commanders. That my game might be a lot of fun. 300 yards, 5 touchdowns each. It could be crazy that game.
Dude, Giants, that they cheated yesterday, so you got that. Don't worry about that. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So the Steelers, clearly the Steelers aren't very good. They let us beat them, so you can win that game. The Eagles aren't good. You play us, depends on Jekyll or Hyde. Who you going to see that day? You going to see Dak throwing 505 titties, or you going to see Dak throwing 3 interceptions and then you just running the ball over our face?
Isn't that a Thanksgiving game? Isn't that the Thanksgiving game?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it because it's not something to be thankful for, Rocha, at all. I will not be thankful for that. The only thing that I'm really weirded out about, that's weird. We're never the morning game. We are always the middle of the day game. Interesting. I need to look this up. Huh. Well, because it's always the Lions, us, and a random match.
Maybe the Lions are at like 7 a.m.
That would be weird. Let me see. Let me see.
When is
so
9:30 in the morning. So if they're at 6:30 in the morning.
Oh, maybe we have the wrong schedule. No, why? This is weird. This doesn't make sense because I'm on the 2024 website, and maybe they just changed it, but it says Thanksgiving Day, the 28th. Oh, are we not playing? What the fuck?
That's something else, man.
Hold on. I'm a little no. I'm weirded out right now because now I'm like, are we not even playing Thanksgiving? Because that doesn't make any sense. No, we are.
You are. You're playing the Giants. So
you have a bye week on Thanksgiving. That's why I got confused. You have a bye week on Thanksgiving. So it is the standard. So it is the Lions in the morning against the Bears. It's us in the afternoon against the Giants. And then it's the Packers versus the Dolphins at the end of the night.
No, but you play us on the 24th. So you play us 4 days ahead of the Thanksgiving game. So you play us and the Giants back to back within 4 days.
Within 4 days. We play you on Sunday. Sunday morning on the 24th. 4 days later, we play Thanksgiving against the Giants.
Right. But we play that weekend against Tennessee. Tennessee's at our house that weekend, but not the first. So we don't get the week off, but we do get to we don't play you guys on Thanksgiving, which I'm sad about. So.
I guess that's why I was confused. I just saw a late November date, and I was like, oh, okay, that must be the Thanksgiving game. But yeah,
let's focus on Deshaun. Look, everything's great. Jaden Daniels breaking records. It's all awesome. But the Deshaun experiment, Winston, is this over? I mean, do we got to shut it down? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
They paid him all that money for him to just for people to yell no Diddy. Like, come on, man.
Come on now.
I don't know what not good.
He's not good, right? I don't know what he showed in his character analysis that people thought, or the Browns thought, to give him $240 million scot-free, but they got to find a way to get their money back, man, because this is a bad situation, bro. Bad situation.
It is bad. It's really, really bad. The only way you could do it, they kind of have talked about it, but we haven't really heard. Hold on one second. Sorry, NFC East champions. I was trying to check something. The only way that they could do it in theory is that there was a clause in his contract that if there was something he didn't tell them the truth about, or if something new came out, that they could void his contract through that. They put that in there very specifically. Mm-hmm. So that would be your way to go, is hope something like that happen. And also, I am laughing at someone trying to say that you guys are going to run the East for a decade. No,
what?
No NFC East team has consecutively won the division for over the last 13 years. So it was us last year, the Eagles the year before that, us the year before that, you guys the year before that, at 7-9, mind you. The Eagles the year before that, us the year before that, the Eagles the year before that, us the year before that, you guys, us the year before that, the Eagles the year before that, you guys the year before that, the Giants in 2011 when they went on that Super Bowl run. So they've been completely irrelevant since they won their last Super Bowl. Then the Eagles the year before that. So no, it constantly moves back and forth. It doesn't happen, especially because even when our teams are bad. So the only year that I will give that is the 2020 year where you guys won the division. Yeah. This is one of the most competitive divisions in football constantly. They're always good enough to be in the mix constantly. So no, there's no, hey, the Seahawks run this, the Niners run this, the Patriots run this. We stay the most competitive in the league.
Yeah, I mean, we got so far to go to even have that conversation about how we're going to be. No self-respecting Commanders fan thinks that we're going to run the NFC East for the next 10 years. You just never know what can happen. And look, for all Jaden's doing, he also likes to run. I am encouraged that Jaden slides, goes down now. He's learning to go down, take the yards, and not try to be a hero. I love that he's doing that. It keeps him upright, and that's a good thing. So we'll see down the road, though. Yeah.
Well, and that's the funny thing. I think El Boogie agrees as an Eagles fan, because we're representing 3 of the 4 teams in our division.
Yeah,
we know our division better than everybody else. That's not. It's just not how the NFC East works. But I'll tell you why Jaden is slide. You don't need to worry because he's taking these slides. I heard that part of his VR is actually a Tua simulation, and when you don't slide, it just goes dark. And then you wake up, and then the doctor's talking to you, and he's like, "Hey, man, you're out for a while. I know you want to keep playing football, so you might want to start sliding." Okay.
That's that jerky VR. You're out for a while. 5 years. Jesus. There are 5 games.
Literally the old school RPGs where you would wake up and then you would see the picture and it would just have a little quote. It's like, you've been out for 5 weeks.
And they do that wipe, the fucking camera wipe across it. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Crazy, man. Oh, yeah, exactly. 100%. So, by the way, the Deshaun Watson his contract is guaranteed, is fully guaranteed. So,
except for that clause, it can be voided that way. Otherwise, even if they bench him, even if they cut him, you got to pay him money. The only way out is if he did something else illegal. And that's essentially what they did. They wanted to cover their asses in case he was still doing shit.
So, here's what you need to know about that contract right now. Okay. It has a base salary of $46 million in 2025 and a cap charge of $72.9 million and a dead cap hit of $172.2 million, because there's 2 years left on this contract. In the final year of his deal, which is 2026, his base salary will stay the same at $46 million. The cap charge is the same at $72, but his dead cap charge drops to $99. So either way, if they don't find anything really credible to let him go on, they can't even let him go, because it's going to be so much money on the in terms of a dead cap hit for them. So the Browns are so fucked. The Browns have already been fucked for years. This is colossally fucked. This is beyond fucked. This is like Diddy fucked. This is so bad that what's going on with the Browns. It's insane, man. It's insane. I bet they're hunting around trying to ask every woman Deshaun Watson's ever spoken to file new charges. So they can get out of this
I'm at this point, them being so, and this would be the effed up part. is because they realize they have backed themselves into a corner. It is fully by their own doing, so I don't feel bad for them. But I see them probably trying to set up some sort of honeypot situation to try and catch his ass, like just so they can get him up out of there, because he is terrible.
Yeah, he's terrible. And I do think it's bad they put that video of him walking away from his team, like he gave up on his team. They had 12 men on the field. That's why he was walking away. And people have manipulated that footage to make it seem as if Deshaun was like, I don't want to play for this team anymore. That's nonsense. It was 12 men on the team. It was a penalty. So
he's not going to play for any team anymore. Like he needs to fit. He literally, because unless they announce they're benching him this week.
Yeah.
He needs to go call up Jaden or anybody that'll loan him one of them VR headsets, spend the entirety of the week on that motherfucker, and then he has to figure that shit out in the next game or two, or he legitimately will, like, they may just bench him and pay him the money they have to pay him, because this is bad.
Yeah, it is bad. Well, speaking of not bad, but getting close to bad, the Dallas Cowboys took care of business against these Steelers last night, 20-17. Dak Prescott threw a touchdown pass to Jalen Tolbert with 20 seconds left in the game to get the victory here. I'm surprised they even needed to do that, but they got the victory. They're now 3-2 on the season here. Pittsburgh dropped its second consecutive game after starting 3-0. So there's a lot of questions to be asked, I think, of both teams, because this Steelers team that should have never been this close. Justin Fields is the quarterback for this Steelers team, for God's sakes. So it's kind of shocking the way it went down. But Winston, what do you take away from this game from both of these teams? What you feeling here? Are the Cowboys good or not? Hello?
No, okay. They're not good. I've said this the whole of the season. Like, I started off with the, if you remember, on the Browns game, I was like, cool, good win. I don't think the Browns are very good. It is what it is. Right. I'm not going to get my hopes up. And then what happened immediately after? Shellacking. Just a straight ass whooping by the Saints, 44-19. And then it looked like deja vu happening all over again with the Ravens. We started to see a little bit of a turnaround there, but it wasn't enough to finish the job, and they won that game. Yeah. And then we struggled against the Giants more than we should have. We won that game pretty handily, but we struggled more than we should have. And in that process, we lost both DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
The defense looked a little bit more put together last night. But there's no reason that we should have struggled that hard against the Steelers team that allowed us to just do whatever.
Even with the rain. Yeah.
Even with the rain, which is going to make it even slicker for that's more fumbles and whatnot. But like, Dak still threw for 352 and 2 touchdowns. The total yardage, if I remember, was like 500 something. Let me see if they'll give me the team stats. Yeah. So the Cowboys had 445 total yards, man. Like, that's absolutely crazy that if it was this close when we had that much yardage on them. It should not have come down to that. So no, I don't think that we're a good team. I think that Dak Prescott is a good player, but he has his fits of moments where he just completely doesn't know where he is. I don't know what it is. Him and CD seem to not really be on the same plane right now, which is not making me feel good.
Yeah. I don't think he's happy there.
But good on, and that bothers me because he was last year clearly. Yeah, I think now that he got paid and everything, I just think something is off right now, and it sucks. Good on Rico Dwaddle for finally stepping up. So now we look like we have a decent running back, but we'll see. That just feels like bad Steelers defense more than anything. But I'm glad Tolbert has stepped up as our number 2 since we lost Cooks. Jake Ferguson is still reliable. Something's got to give. I need us to be better than this. This is not it because we're not good right now.
I think Dak should force a move, man. He's got to go someplace else. What if he went to Los Angeles and replaced Stafford? I mean, they're going nowhere with Stafford anymore.
Just got a contract. That's not going to happen.
They got a good stable of receivers. All right, fine.
Nobody's taking that contract.
He should have never taken that contract. Should have waited. I mean, look, the Cowboys got the job done. You got to get the W, how you get the W, but they don't look convincing at all, which is a shame. And then they just lost Marshawn Nealon for 4 to 6 weeks for an injury to his right knee. So that's another defensive player going down. So that's a shame. It was almost season ending, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Scary moment.
I was just going to say, we also got a scare with Zach Martin too.
Yeah.
Zach Martin went down with a pretty bad injury, and he was able to get off the field. I don't think he finished the game, but like all of this, it was bad, man.
Yeah, agreed. Let's move on to the last game here, and that's Kyler Murray rallying the Cardinals past the 49ers. This is a surprising result here. I know it's a division game. I know you got to kind of throw that out here, but I mean, the 49ers, this is insane to me that they are now in a situation where they are 2-3, tied with the Cardinals, actually below the Cardinals in the division, with Seattle ahead of them at 3-2 and the Rams at 1-4. But now all of a sudden we have to start asking questions about these 49ers, bro. Like, what do we take away from this situation here? Brock Purdy threw for 244 yards, but 2 interceptions. Brandon Ayuk, 147 yards receiving, but Kittle only 64. Juwan Jennings, 1 catch for 13 yards. Debo, 1 catch for 11 yards. That's insane.
Killed me.
Yeah, and on the other side, Kyler showed up. We killed this Cardinals team. So I am surprised that they went on the road and beat this 49ers team in the end. So what do you take away from this game here, Winston, about both of these teams?
I mean, a couple things. Division rivals are always going to be hard. I don't care. Even if they're the worst team in the league, you have to be aware of your division rivals, man, because they know you better than anybody. The Cardinals are actually a pretty good team. They just, you're in just a gauntlet of a division. Like the Rams have been consistently good. This is the first like year to 2 years where they just kind of fell off a little bit, but they still have been good. Seattle has never fully gone away. If anything, they found a resurgence with Geno, and this new coach has kind of taught them how to do what they need to do. Yeah. And the Niners are the Niners. So like the Cardinals don't get a chance to shine because the division they're in, and Murray was out with an injury a couple years back. Yeah. But as far as the Niners go, I think the bubble just finally burst, man.
You think?
I don't think that they're done. I think they can bounce back from all this. I think first of all, as good as Jordan Mason is, which he's very good. Yeah. I think you saw how much CMC is essentially the entirety of that team. Yeah. Because it wasn't just his ability to run hard through the tackles. Mason's a decent pass catcher out of the backfield, but seems the number of like flats and screen plays that you threw to CMC and then he would mix up on you. Yeah. You don't have that. And even when you do have people like Juwan Jennings stepping up or Ayuk finally showing up, you don't have CMC clearly that completely does things, tits up. And that's it. This team, I have always felt in my gut, as dominating of a force as they are, they don't necessarily have the sauce to get the job done. There's something about them that, like, the Rams, I feel like they could have and they did. Yeah. The Bengals, I thought they could have, and they almost did, but you played the Rams that one time. Yeah. The Chiefs have proven time and again that they have it. I don't know about Baltimore. I go back and forth with them, to be honest with you. Yeah. But the Niners, there's just something there. There is something there that when it's time to end it, they can't do it. And it showed up in this game. When it was time to end it, they just couldn't do it.
The 49ers are 14th in the NFC right now. 14th. The Eagles are 10th. These are two teams that people thought were Super Bowl favorites here.
Not me with the Eagles. I'll give you the Niners, not the Eagles.
What are you talking about? Jalen Hurts? Come on now.
Okay. What do you want, a cookie? You want a cookie for him being on Abbott Elementary, bro? Like, that's not.
Whoa.
I mean, you always talking about Travis Kelce trying to be a TV star. What the fuck? Jalen Hurts just go out here and flirt with Quentin Brunson, but can't throw a goddamn anything other than an interception. Get the fuck up out of here.
Come on. They went to the Super Bowl. Come on now.
Yeah, they went to the Super Bowl and they blew it.
They did.
And then they haven't done shit since.
It was a pass interference, but all right. Anyway, the 49ers, though, I mean, this is I'm starting to sense that as well. And Brock is starting not to play well in critical moments. This is the second time in the last few weeks that they've blown a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter against a division rival. Did it against the Rams and did it now against Arizona. That speaks to an issue with the defense, an issue with the play calling, and an issue with their inability right now to step on the neck of their division rivals. And I think this is a bad situation for the 49ers. And now I start to wonder if they're even going to make the playoffs. And they're at Seattle next, another division game at Seattle. That's a tough stadium. Then they play Kansas City at home. Then they play you guys at home. And then the Bucks, and then the Seahawks again, then the Packers, then the Bills. That is a fucking tough schedule over the next few weeks, man. The 49ers could legitimately be out of playoff contention by the end of that run.
Well, I'm trying to think. So McCaffrey is still on IR.
Yes. Yeah.
Like he's eligible to come back week 6, so next week if he wanted to, but I don't think you rush him back. I think what you do is you stem the bleeding as best you can, and then you need to bring him back like mid-season. I don't think you can wait. The rumor was let him heal the whole of the season. We'll make the playoffs. He can come back and help us in a playoff run. I think you got to bring back as soon as he is good to go. The earliest is mid-season, so around week 8, week 9, bring him out. When is their bye? Do you know?
Let's see.
9. Make it through week 8. So we're your last game. You don't need him for us. Do your bye week. Come bring him back to Tampa Bay. And you need to ride out the remainder of the year with CMC. And again, you could 2-headed back it with Mason, where Mason can be your mix and tumble back, and let CMC do a couple of those, but let him be your out back and shit. You can even start doing 2-back sets where it's like, okay, make Mason go up as a fullback for you. I know you got Chef, but if you're trying to confuse them as to what they're going to do, you know what I'm saying? There's little ways that you can make that happen. You're not doing this without CMC. It's blatantly clear that they are not the same team without him there.
And they just lost Jake Moody to a high ankle sprain, and they're working out 4 kickers today to replace Jake Moody. So clearly,
I have to drop Jake Moody, man.
Me too. I have Jake Moody as well, which sucks. So he's gonna that's gonna be an issue. And then Talanoa Hufanga went out as well in the game. They're all pro safety, just with a wrist injury. So he could be out for a while as well. So yeah, this is going to be it. Sometimes it hits you, man. These tough injuries hits you at the wrong time. So the 49ers look a little shaky for sure, man. We will see what happens with that team. Let's take one break so I can put some ads in. And then after this, we'll talk the rest of the games.
You know what Purdy reminds me of?
Who's that? Oh, you want to go on? Keep going. Go ahead.
No, just real quick. Because everybody's saying Purdy is good. He's just failing in clutch moments against the Rams and the Cards. I'm like, oh my God.
That's literally the definition of whether you're good or not.
But hold on. I was going to say Brock Purdy is white Dak Prescott.
Oh boy.
Think about this. Balling all game, right? And then I need you to get one more solid throw to end this. What the fuck was that, bro? Holy shit. He's white Dak Prescott. If Dak
except Dak's never been to a Super Bowl.
Sure, but you also he's never had a CMC, and he's never had a competent coach. What competent coaches he had?
McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning coach. What are you talking about?
And what did he do after that?
Shannon hasn't even won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but at least he's been. I'll give him that. He's been to 2 recently. Yeah. He white Dak, so he'll probably get second in MVP voting at some point recent soon. He'll end up like second team All Pro. I just don't know if he's ever gonna pull it off, bro. I
think Jake Delhomme just walked through the door. Is what I think, and that scares me. Right? Mark Sanchez just walked through the door.
No. See, you know what I'm not about to do? You know what I'm not about to do is people out here saying you can't compare a Super Bowl level coach. The fuck I can. You want to tell me first of all, just like the specifically when Trent Dilfer? Trent Dilfer, the last Super Bowl that Peyton Manning played. If you want to talk to Peyton Manning the rest of his career, fine. That last Super Bowl, dog shit.
That
That
was
defense did everything. He had 114 or 150 yards and just didn't turn the ball over. No, Peyton Manning was trash that year. So don't even get me started. Rex Grossman made it to the fucking Super Bowl. You want to say that Rex Grossman is better than Dak at his peak? Get the fuck out of here. Yes, the fuck I can, because Jalen Hurts is awful right now. And Brock Purdy clearly didn't get it done. So miss me with all of that noise about Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan won MVP and went to the Super Bowl. And what was he doing the last couple of years? I said what I said.
Fair point. Fair point.
Dak now is better than Peyton his last year. Yes, that's what I said. Yes. Career? No, I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm talking about, if we're talking about in the moment right now, Brock Purdy is white Dak. That's what I said.
All right. Well, let's take a break after that. We'll get into the rest of the games right after this here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Oh, there we go. All right. Jesus Christ. All right, I do that so I can put a little marker down for some of the ads there. Let's move on to the rest of the games here. Jordan, I know we got a little bit of time left, only 20-some minutes left. Jordan Love threw a pair of touchdown passes in the second half to rally the Packers past the Rams 24-19. Kirk Cousins threw for 509 yards, hit out Hodge in overtime to give the Falcons a 36-30 win over the Bucs. That was an amazing game. Trevor Lawrence came up big on his birthday and led the Jaguars to their first win of the season, 37-34 over the Joe Flacco-led Colts. The Dolphins beat the Patriots in one of the ugliest games you're ever going to see, 15-10. Caleb Williams and DJ Moore led the way in the Bears' 36-10 rout of the Panthers. Oh, my God. Get Bryce Young out of there. Patrick Surtain's 2 interceptions powered the Broncos past the Raiders 34-18, snapping an 8-game skid against the Vegas Raiders. And the Giants used a, dare I say, strong performance from Daniel Jones and a late touchdown on a blocked kick to beat the Seahawks 29-20. All right, Winston, of these games, what do you want to talk about from these games? What are your thoughts on these games, please?
Shout out Jordan Love coming back healthy. Shout out that tight end that I picked up at the last second, getting 2 touchdowns and 2 drives in 4 minutes of each other.
I
had Laporta out, so I got him.
I had Cole Kmet, and I'm like, and Isaiah Likely. I said, I need a tight end. Fantasy said this Packers tight end might work for you. I picked him up, and now I have a chance to win tonight if Kamara has a shit game. I can't believe it. What a great tight end.
It was great. So that was fun. Let's see. The Thursday game was fun to watch. That OT was kind of crazy. I really like that. I feel so happy for that receiver because that was his second touchdown ever. So to go on a walk-off and an OT. Lawrence is trash, yet somehow he won on his birthday. The Dolphins are not good. Don't let that win mistake you. I want to talk about Caleb Williams and the Bears, man, over the Panthers. Now, I know the Panthers aren't good, but, I think this is where I needed people to calm down with this. He's a bust. He was soft. And I'm like, he is a rookie. Yeah. I think people keep forgetting, what rookies do you know? Because they don't put as much spotlight on other positions, but think about what was said about the game last night, about how Dak ultimately ended up winning the game. They kept targeting the rookie corner because they knew that he was a rookie, so he was going to get tricked on routes. Yeah. He wasn't going to have the instincts to jump in front of stuff, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes it happens. Some people are just ready in the same way that, we all went through puberty at different ages. Your professional level and an ability to immediately step up differentiates depending on how you prepare, how you're physically built, who's coaching you, who you're playing, what time are you doing it? Are you partying too much? There's so many factors. But the one thing we've noticed is that the newer players, if they sat behind somebody else for a little bit and learned and then go in, they have a tendency to do well. Yeah. In this particular case, Caleb didn't get a chance to sit behind anybody. Neither did Justin Fields. Justin Fields is playing a lot better because now he's had time to learn with Russell and learn with Mike Tomlin, a competent coach, and he's showing a much better outing. Caleb will get there, but he needs to, A, have good people around him to help teach him, and B, just give him time. And I thought that was a great game for have the opportunity. Their defense sucks. Their offense is going to necessarily put up points. I want to see what you can do. Go mix it up. And so I think Caleb will ultimately be the generational talent that people were looking for him to be. I just don't think it's going to happen this year. I think you're going to see some bumps in the road. They end up middle of the pack. at the bottom of the division, but middle of the pack in the NFC, and then they ultimately will do better in the coming years.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, coming out of these games, I got to say something. Bo Nix got a victory. Bucks have won, the Broncos have won 3 in a row. This is the second win in a row for the Bears. They're 3-2. The Commanders are 4-1, which is one game above 3-2. So these 3 rookie quarterbacks, you have to say, starting out the season in a positive way, amidst all the conversations about them making some mistakes, or maybe, as you said, alluding to the fact that Caleb might be a bust or whatever. Like, if you're these franchises at this point after week 5, all 3 of you have winning records: the Commanders, the Bears, and the Broncos. So you got to feel good at this point that you're a little bit ahead of schedule with all this situation going on. And I thought that game against the Panthers, Caleb found his rhythm, found his approach to this thing. Nix, I think, is going to take a little bit longer, but Caleb, it seems he's starting to figure out this game, get over his nerves, get over his feeling that maybe he doesn't belong. And now you're seeing him step up to the plate and do well. Yes, playing a crap team helps you, but they're still NFL level defenders. So you got to get the job done. And he has. And it's not like this Bears team is a world beater of a team. So I think now you're going to see some interesting things happen for the Bears over the next few weeks. If the defense starts believing in Caleb more, they're going to lay themselves out more. And I think that could lead to more victories for these Bears. So I'm really impressed by this. And I'm keeping my eyes on it, because I was one of those people that really thought Caleb didn't have it from the way he played at USC in the tail end and the way he started out the season. But look, I mean, that Colts loss is a tough loss, but you beat out the Rams and you beat these Panthers. Now you got a struggling Jaguars team. Then you play us, which will be a lot of fun. Then you've got the Cardinals, Patriots, Packers. There's possibilities here that they get 9 or 10 victories if Caleb really figures it out. And that's progress. So to me, I think that's what I come out of it. The Knicks situation, I think has more of a potential to fall apart. So I'm going to, because of the Sean Payton, I don't buy anymore as a coach without Drew Brees. So we'll see how that goes out. But you got the victory. And that matters. And beating a Raiders team you hadn't beaten 8 games, that's pretty fucking good. So where are they going to go from here? So that's the big stuff I take away from the games, is that these rookie quarterbacks, all of them, have done a really good job here to get some victories for their teams. And now we'll see where they go from here over the next few weeks to see where they're at by the midpoint of the season. So yeah. And I'll say this, Kirk Cousins, this is why Atlanta got him. For these type of games, these shootout games in the division, this is why they got Kirk. Kirk is unflappable sometimes in the regular season, and he does a great job with situations like this, and he got the job done. 509 yards, man. The man can still fling it. That's incredible, dude.
And someone asked me, would I rather have Kirk or Dak? And I'm still taking Dak. I stand by the fact that it's not Dak. It is literally our coaching staff. It is legit. I don't have faith in McCarthy. I don't. I literally, every Packer fan I know warned me ahead of time when we signed him. They laughed in my face and they said, "Good luck." That is where I'm at. That is the answer to that question. And I stand by the fact that I wish the Vikings hadn't given up on Kirk Cousins, because look at what Darnold's doing. You don't think Kirk Cousins couldn't do that and more?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Fair point. All right. So let's see. What's your predictions for tonight, man? Chiefs versus Saints. This is going to be possibly a good game. This could be a blowout by either team. What do you think is happening in this game? And Sean Brennan's in the chat. So you know.
I know. So there's a part of me that, just out of the nature of, since he thinks there's a blood feud, of just saying that, the Saints got this. But I have zero faith in Derek Carr still to this day.
Yeah.
They are a 2-2 team for a reason. Yeah. They really stole one away from us because of how bad we are. So that overinflates a lot of their stats.
Yeah.
I don't know what this Chiefs team looks like truly without their number one. You don't have Rice.
Yeah.
You don't have Pacheco.
Yeah.
Maybe Travis got, with technically the long week, got his act together. I don't know. Worthy's not ready yet because he can run 3 routes effectively and can't do the rest of the route tree very well. So unless he made a massive jump up, I actually have the Saints taking this, but by no more than maybe a field goal. And that's not even a given. I give them like a 51-49% chance on that. And that's literally only because I have a little bit more faith in the weapons of the Saints to kind of help bail them out. Patty's been playing rough all season. Like, he's still Patrick Mahomes, but he's got 5 interceptions. It's very uncharacteristic of him to have 5 interceptions in 4 games. So yes, here comes the Saints pick. It is a Saints pick, but it's not one I'm making comfortably. It's not one that I'm saying that like I'm super sure on. I feel like it's coming down to the buzzer, if not overtime. I don't feel good about either pick, but I'm taking the Saints in this one just for having more consistent weapons available than what Patrick has at his disposal.
Dim says I picked the refs. That's a safe pick.
That's a safe pick. That's a safe pick right there. That is 1-1.
Exactly. I no way do I take the Saints marching into Arrowhead and getting a victory. I think that would be really surprising. And there's nothing Patrick Mahomes loves more than when you doubt he can do it and when you doubt the team. And so I think that's going to motivate him even more to come out there and show up and do a great job. That being said, I think you make an excellent point. The Saints have all their weapons. They are ready to go. They want to prove that they're not some anomaly. They took a hard loss last week. And so you got to come back and show what you can do and get people scared again in the NFC to play you. So who knows? It depends on how the defense plays. I think it's going to show us, on the Chiefs defense, show us how these Saints are going to go. And if Derek goes back to being the tortoise shell Derek, who constantly, whenever he's scared, then the Saints are going to have a long night ahead of themselves. But I picked the Chiefs. I picked the Chiefs because I just don't see the Saints marching into Arrowhead and winning that game.
I get that, but it's not cold. We're not doing the ice bowl that happened last year. It's still pretty hot out. All that kind of situation. You've had time because technically by being a Monday game, you're gonna have a short week next week, but it was a long week for them to be able to kind of figure some stuff out. And you got to remember what's at stake here. If the Chiefs lose, they just go to 4-1. They'll be fine. They still run their division. If the Saints lose,
2-3.
You're 2-3. You're now like you're in the mix with the Bucks, but both the Bucks and Atlanta are 3-2. Yeah. You don't want to skid a little bit where you're getting closer to Carolina than you're getting instead of getting closer to your opponents there. So there's more, in my opinion, at stake for New Orleans than Kansas City, and I think that tension is what's going to give them that one possession field goal edge.
Bro, if they lose the game, they're only one game better than Carolina. For all that huge opening, they're only one game better than Carolina if they lose tonight. So
that's accurate. And also, let me check something with
not a good situation.
I mean, their defense is also pretty damn good, man. Like, first of all, again, inflated stats by playing us and winning so handily. Yeah. But they've got 127 points for them versus Kansas City's 92. But they only have 70 points against to Kansas City 72. Mm-hmm. So, like, again, I know it's a little inflated, but like clearly there's something there. Yeah. So the only thing that I see making this just fall apart, if you get that Derek Carr that we're talking about, that we're expecting later in the year.
45. Yeah.
Sorry. I was just.
That's it. That's what he had to say. All right. We've got 4 questions. Thank you so much to everybody sending Streamlabs. I really appreciate it. Let's get through these questions. I don't know how much time you have, but I want to get through the questions first. Sean Brennan says, hello, fellas. This year has been so weird so far with teams looking up and down week to week. 5 weeks in, who do you guys think has a legitimate shot at the Super Bowl? And whose record so far is the most suspect?
Let me look at the standings.
Let's take a look here.
Oops, that says NBA. No.
Conference.
All right. So let's just go by conference instead of division. So the most sus on the AFC side.
AFC side? Probably.
The Ravens. I know that they won some tough games there, but the way that they have almost lost stuff, they almost blew it against us. You couldn't finish it off against the Chiefs. They're still very much a good team, but I have questions. Yeah. I have a lot of questions. And on the NFC side, the most sus right now. would either be the Falcons or the Commanders. And it's not because that you guys haven't proven that you're a young upstart team. It's you still have a rookie at the helm. You still have a first-year head coach at the helm. So, like, yeah, you're handling your business and you have a pretty easy schedule.
Yeah.
But I want to see you guys get pushed. You know what I'm saying? So you're not like sus. I just want to see you get pushed.
Fair point. Next week will happen. I think we will get pushed by those Ravens all over the field. Will we be able to push back? We will see. On the AFC side of things, I would say the Bills are suspect at 3-2. I agree with that. I think the Texans are a little suspect. Just keeping it in the back of my mind. I think the Texans are a little suspect at 4-1. On the NFC side of things, I'd say the Seahawks are suspect at 3-2 because I just will never buy Geno Smith.
That's rude.
I know. And the Lions. I'm telling you, I just have a thing.
Also rude. I how dare you? If you're gonna do that, that's fine. I'll take one more stab because like the Falcons, just because I just never trust them.
Fair point.
They still are misusing Bijan, and you only got Kyle Pitts involved this game, so there's that. I will forever remain sus of the Eagles. I told you that shit is fraudulent. I get you got injuries, man.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that's a good question. Thank you, Sean. Always good to have you in the chat, brother. And thanks for that Streamlab. Matt McCrance says, this is still a Bears rebuilding year. They have 3 picks in the top 50 next year, which is where they will address the offensive line issues. That said, Caleb looks like he's putting it together. Will the Bears still find a way to break the kid? It's a great question.
I would say so, because if you remember, Justin Fields had some up and down. He started off kind of rough, went a stretch like, oh shit, this kid is real. And then just like, because you take too many hits, you're gonna break somebody.
Yeah,
that's part of the reason why Joe Burrow early on in his career was wow, this kid has talent, but he's not good because the line kept letting him get sacked. He was the most sacked quarterback by a mile.
100%.
He had Caitlin Clark level sacks the way she got turnovers, bro. Like
you had to.
Hey, guess what happened though?
Oh,
he went to a Super Bowl and she became Rookie of the Year. So I mean, does it matter? Does it matter?
My wrist is hurt.
What is this?
My wrist is hurt. I can't play anymore when I'm losing Rookie of the Year. My wrist is hurt.
What? Who brought up Angel Reese? Nobody said anything about
you know what? You bring up Caitlin, you got to bring up Angel. That's how it works.
No, you don't. You literally don't. You literally don't.
Equality, black and white.
Bro, what about it, motherfucker? Why did it compare to some white people? Kate Martin played better than her ass. I'm just playing.
Oh my God! Did you see the Mina injury overseas? Mina Cool. Oh, shame.
No, I missed it.
The knee injury is it was horrific. You could the stadium had barely any fans in it. You could hear her howling from the fucking court. Heartbreaking. Yeah, I mean that's the situation there. So I like the idea of the Bears turning it around. I think there's possibilities here. It's going to be up to Caleb to take control of his situation. And Caleb is not a wallflower. So I think they're not going to mess him up like the way they messed up Justin Fields, because Caleb is not going to let them mess him up. Caleb has a team, man. He came in equipped. He wanted a percentage of the team before he got drafted by the team. That's hubris. So that tells me he's got a team. He's got a plan for the future. And so he's going to handle shit with Chicago, and he's going to make them come to him, not him come to them, which is what happened in the Justin Fields situation.
You're a wild boy talking about, I want a percentage of the team. Bitch,
isn't that crazy?
Done nothing yet.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Mike Joyce says David Njoku has been out with an injury since week 1, and he came back now, and now he has a new knee injury after yesterday's game. Should I give up on him? Yes, 100%. I almost took him because he was coming back. I'm glad I didn't. I took that Packers tight end.
Hey, man, if you can get him, I'm trying to tell you, you need to go and find yourself this Packers tight end, bro.
Yeah, go find the Packers tight end for sure, bro. Yeah. What's the guy's name here? Tucker Kraft. If you have Tucker Kraft available in your league, go and pick him up right
his ass up now.
Yeah, that's some good stats he put up yesterday out of nowhere, for God's sakes. And of course, Isaiah Likely gets 14 points the one time I drop him. I don't play him, but whatever. All right, let's see what else we got here. Last one, Fred Tastic says, showing some support for Game Time. My Cowboys 8 showing just enough life to get everyone back on the bandwagon for the great disappointment to come. Dallas laid the blueprint to win Super Bowls in 92 to 95, and the GM threw it away for self-congratulations. Yeah, that is still the narrative, bro. All these years, all these decades later, about those Cowboys glory years. What are your thoughts on any of the comments here from Fred?
I mean, yes. Jerry Jones is so full of fucking self. He's like, I have to be the one. I am the one.
I am the one.
Like, I just. Oh God, I can't stand him.
Time to play the Jones.
I cannot stand him.
All right, let's end on two final stories here before we wrap up here. Once we got like a couple minutes. Jabril Peppers pleaded not guilty. Patriots safety Jabril Peppers pleaded not guilty Monday after he was arrested Saturday before he played the game on charges that included strangulation and drug possession, according to police in Braintree, Massachusetts. They responded to a disturbance the police did at a residential address early Saturday morning when a caller indicated there was an altercation between two people. He is charged with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, strangulation, possession of a Class B substance believed to be cocaine. Holy shit, man. Is this it? Is he out for the year if this...
Probably, bro. Do you see what the police said? According to Braintree police, the woman alleged that Peppers hit her, choked her at least 6 times, took off her clothing, then put her outside, and then shoved her to the ground, shoved her head in the wall, and put his hands around her to strangle her. This nigga is crazy. He is crazy.
Yeah. Keep telling me CTE doesn't exist. I mean, this is nonsense. He answered the door shirtless. He said, I know what is going on. And then he was arrested without incident. So yeah, man, this is a bad look. Did he play? I think he played, which is even crazier to me. So
did he play? No, he did not play in the
he didn't play. Sorry.
Didn't play in the 15-10 loss.
All right.
Limited practice last week with the shoulder injury, and then the team officially ruled him out on Saturday.
He called the coach that morning. Hey guy, coach, I'm arrested. I did all these things. That's a shame. It's a shame overall that nothing should happen like that. People,
like you said, you want to say CT is not a thing. Has anybody noticed that of all of the leagues, who gets the most legal trouble?
The NFL? No,
by a mile, bro.
Yeah.
Like I don't have the stats directly in front of me, but I'm trying to think of the number of times I've heard of NBA players getting in mixes with like the police or anything like that. And the only one that really comes to mind off the top of my head, sadly, is like Delonte West, and that's just already out of the league, having his full like mental spiral and drug problem and all that kind of stuff. Other than that, Lamar Odom with his crack situation, but he wasn't arrested for that. That's the only other time you kind of hear about that stuff. Most of the time you hear it is just some diva shit being like, so-and-so said they didn't like LeBron's tequila. Now LeBron's bad. Like it's not, it just doesn't happen. The NHL that you fighting on the ice, you ain't hear about none of them getting into anything. And then baseball, the only scandal that we've heard outside of like steroid stuff really was to thinking, did Shohei actually F up this money? But no, his translator genuinely jacked him and messed it up. You know what I'm saying? You just don't hear about it in the other majors like this. It's crazy.
No. I mean, you don't hear anything like Ray Caruth shooting his pregnant wife and then like trying to hide in the trunk of a car. It's just craziness, man. Craziness. Yeah.
Or the Rashee Rices of the world crashing at 100+ mile per hour. Plus, who was the receiver in Oakland that did that too? Or in Vegas, excuse me. You remember, like,
last season. Yeah. I forget what the guy's name was, but yeah.
Done. Like how many times is Aaron Hernandez? You ain't never had an Aaron Hernandez in baseball, bro. That has never happened. You've never had an OJ in the NBA, bro. That doesn't happen.
That's true. One last thing. Let's end on a positive note. WNBA, the New York Liberty are back to the finals here, brother. We got a game 5 tomorrow between the Connecticut Sun and Minnesota Lynx. So your thoughts on the Liberty pretty much wiping the floor with the Aces, 2-time champion Aces, and now the Sun and Lynx going to the 5th game. Who do you got? So what are your thoughts on both? Real quick.
Here would be my quick response to that. You're the one that as a number of people kept saying, oh, Caitlin was snubbed. I will tell you what Caitlin not making it to the Olympics actually did to the Liberty. It screwed them out of going to the finals. You had 4 of your starters go to the Olympics and play
the Aces. You said screwed the Liberty out of the finals. They're in.
Sorry, the Aces.
Yeah,
I meant the Aces because the Liberty only had 2. You only had Inescu and Stewie.
And Brianna Stewie.
You had Plum, Wilson, Gray, and Plum, Wilson, Gray, and Young.
Yeah.
Yes, and Young all go to the Olympics. They played your 4 of your 5 starters. They all played all summer, played a lot of minutes out there, and then turned around. And you were already behind the 8 ball. You're already in 4th place going into the Olympic break. You never got out of 4th place. So yes, you have the greatest player on the planet, but everybody got kind of tired. And the Liberty, again, the rest of that team had fresh legs. So it took some pressure off. And so Stewie and Inescu could cook. And you could tell at sometimes that the Aces look fucking tired, man. So I think this might be the year that the Liberty will take the title. We'll see what happens with the Lynx and the Sun. The Sun, though, genuinely remain in the Lynx versus the Sun.
Yeah,
I think the Sun have it. I think they're going to make it to the finals, and I think it's going to be a knockout drag out to a game 5. I think the Liberty squeak it out.
Okay,
but the Sun to me look like the more dangerous team.
I think the Lynx win it. Because DeJounte Carrington doing that finger in Caitlin Clark's eye, there's karma for that. And I think the Lynx are going to win and beat them. And then they're going to go to the finals, and the Liberty will win 3-1.
I can't roll my eyes anyhow. If I do, my contacts will stick in the back of my head.
But I think the Lynx will get in the final, and I think the Liberty win 3-1. But if the Sun do get in, Winston, I think you're right. I think it'll be a 5-game series. I think the Liberty are better equipped to destroy the Lynx than they are the Sun. So that's going to be a fun series. If it is the Sun and the Liberty, that's a must-watch series.
Like Marina isn't like Inescu. Inescu is like 1 of 1 when it comes to threes at this particular point. But Marina is pretty damn close. That would literally be like watching Reggie Miller and Ray Allen in their prime going against each other. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a situation where that's kind of your counter to Inescu. I don't know, like as strong as the defense is on the Sun, I don't know what your counter to both Stewie and Jonquel Jones is.
Yeah.
That's a lot of body to try and deal with the Sun, but they're a dangerous just squad, man. So
and Stewie is driven. She is driven this year, and so I think her and Ionescu.
Can you imagine? You just trade back and forth. Either you win the MVP or you win the title. That's her and Wilson. Just you can have MVP. I'm gonna go take the chip.
Yeah, right.
Have MVP. Like that's man.
It's incredible. All right, well, there you go. That's our episode of Game Time. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. Sorry we were out last week, scheduling issues and whatever, but we appreciate you all hanging out with us today. Winston, another fun show, brother. I always appreciate you taking the time, my friend. Please let people know where they can find you and all the stuff you got going on your channel.
You can find me at the Swaggy Blurred here on YouTube as well on all other social platforms. I have been fiddling with. I have this cool prompter thing that hasn't been working, so that kind of hamstrung me. I got a little too focused on the prompter instead of just doing my damn videos. So I'm gonna go as soon as we wrap up here. Go get a Blurred breakdown done. Yes. If I can get it out by 6:30, 7 o'clock tonight, I will. Otherwise, expect that at noon tomorrow. Obviously, if we get too late in the day, I know a lot of people are kind of logged off for the day. So either this evening or early tomorrow. You know what? We'll call it tomorrow. I need to do my penguin reaction. I haven't done yet, so that'll come out tonight.
Right on. Okay, there you go. Go and follow Winston on his social media handles and go subscribe to his YouTube channel. As for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Please subscribe to this channel, the YouTube Game Time YouTube channel. Trying to get to that 1,000 subscribers. Help us get there so we can monetize the channel. Would appreciate it madly. And my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says, the Outlaw Nation, all that is happening there. A lot of stuff. We got a live show tonight, 5 p.m. PT. We're going live. The Geek Buddies to break down Joker Folia Do. And then we'll have you liked
that movie though, didn't you?
I hated that movie, The Jedi Way.
You liked it.
And then we got I didn't like it. I defended some elements of it, but I didn't like that movie.
I don't know. I didn't watch your full thing.
There you go. What?
Sorry, I didn't mean to keep interrupting you. I just someone had told me Rocha's the only person I know who liked it. I was like, Rocha liked it. I because that was terrible.
No, I said this is a film that felt like it hated itself. It hated its first movie, and that's what I said in my review. My out of theater reaction, I was like the Real Rejects. I was like, so yeah, in the end. All right, there we go. Let's get out of here. Thank you.
Bad.
I gotta go get food. You guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out with us. Much love to you, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of Game Time. Peace.